Hi there, welcome to my office. When I was a teenager, I used to do a thing at a service we did, a youth service called Dave's Desk. So I guess these videos from the office, rather than being garage theology, are going to be Dave's Desk. And we're going to be doing short reflection videos over the next period as we adjust to life. Shut up in our own houses, and we're going to take most of them from this book, the Jesus Storybook Bible by Sally Lloyd-Jones. I'm going to put a link to it in the description. It's a great kids Bible storybook combination that really brings out how the whole Bible talks about what Jesus is doing and the message that Jesus has for the world from the whole Bible. So hopefully if you want to go through for yourself and have these reflections, they're just going to be drawn from the Bible, so they're going to be good. And if you want to give something for your kids, then you can grab a copy of this, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas of things to talk about as you're reading through these stories with your kids. So we're going to start those on Monday. I thought today we're just going to do something slightly different. We found out on Wednesday, I think, that we weren't going to have services on this Sunday. We have got 4 kids, 2 of whom have got underlying medical conditions. So my wife and I made the choice, right, we'll just stop going out. We'll do minimal possible contact with others. So we're doing the whole social distancing thing. And so I've had 2 conversations with people outside the house this week, and both of them have talked to me about sort of end timesy stuff. Is this the end of the world? So I thought we'd just do a short reflection, drawn a bit from Mark 13, where Jesus talks about the end times. And so Mark 13 verse 5, Jesus said to them, "Watch out that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name declaring, 'I am he,' and they deceive many. When you hear of wars and rumours of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end will still come. Nation will rise against nation, and the kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines, and these are the beginning of the birth pains." And so he seems to talk about things that will happen as signs of the end times. And from the book of Revelation, we see the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, one of whom is plague. So people are like, well, is this... there have been wars, there have been fires, there have been earthquakes, there have been famines, and now there's plague. Is this the end times? But interestingly, in verse 32, Jesus says, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels above, nor the Son, but only the Father." So Jesus is talking about signs of the end of the age, but then says he doesn't know when the age is going to be. So what kind of signs is he talking about? And so I think we need to think about 2 different types of signs. And the first type of sign is a sign of something that's imminent. That when this happens, you know that that's going to happen just afterwards. So your fuel warning light comes on. That's a sign, and if your fuel warning light comes on, you know that shortly afterwards you're going to run out of fuel. That's one type of sign. It's a predictive sign. But there are other types of sign. Keeping with motoring, imagine you're driving down the motorway and you see a sign on the side of the road saying, "Tiredness kills, take a break." And now that doesn't mean that in 2 minutes you're going to fall asleep and if you don't stop. It means that there is a truth that if you're tired, then accidents are more likely. And you need to know that truth as you travel, and that sign is a reminder of that truth. And the signs Jesus is talking about, this type of sign, they're a reminder of something that's true. So things will happen that make you think the end of the world is coming. When you imagine, I imagine that when you're in the middle of an earthquake, it feels like the end of the world. In the middle of a war, it feels like the end of the world. In the middle of a plague, a pandemic, it feels like the end of the world, because there will be an end to the world. Jesus says, "I will come back and restore all things." So where we see these horrible things happening, these things that seem so unnatural, so horrid, and we think, why are they happening? It's to remind us that the world needs fixing and that Jesus is coming back to fix it. So we need not worry that this particular event that we feel like it's the end of the world is necessarily mean that Jesus is coming back tomorrow, any more than 3 months ago we could have felt like Jesus was coming back tomorrow. Just because we're experiencing a pandemic now doesn't mean others around the world haven't experienced things that felt like the end of the world. But we do need to remember that there will be an end, that Jesus is coming to put all things right, and that in him we can have life and eternal life with him in a place of joy and everlasting. And so that's our reflection for today. Hopefully we're back on Monday. We'll be looking at, what's the first story, the beginning, a perfect home, taken from the beginning of Genesis. So that's what, hopefully we'll do that on Monday. Have a good day. Bye bye.